Hello, beautiful Cancer. It's time for your reading for August 2021. It is an exciting time, a time of nice new beginnings and fresh starts, and I'm feeling really positive about it. I know the world's been a crazy place for the past year and a bit, but let's get over that and let's start negotiating the world as free agents. Let's start to put every bit of intention and everything that we want to happen into the way we operate. So let's quit worrying about what other people are putting into the world. Let's put our own thing into the world, because you guys are very powerful creatures and I know you can. Let's see what we've got here. This could be you, water sign. This is a very different reading to anything I have had in quite some time, which is refreshing. Nice. Very, very, very refreshing. Okay, this is probably the best reading out of the batch I've done so far today. Without question, I don't see any 10 of Swords like all the other readings had, which nobody ever needs or wants. Okay, so let's just take a peek at this. So, Queen of Cups. So, the Queen of Cups is all about intuition. She is even maybe a little bit psychic, but she's very good at intuition, very good with pursuing anything passionate in life. The Cups people are wonderful at that. I shouldn't say the Cups people, the water signs, Cancer, Pisces, and Scorpio. So Cancer, this could be you. She is really good with home and family. Traditionally, this is a female card, but it can be a man if you're the guy who is the person who's very intuitive and handles the social calendar in your house, or who takes care of the social stuff or the kids, all that kind of stuff. You could be this person. But it's not to say that if you are a female in this role, you can't have an outside job or anything like that. Obviously, you can. Most of us do. But because she's such a passionate and loving person, or he, they do tend to be the ones who handle the home front, typically, even if they have an outside job. So this person is somebody that people tend to go to for matters of the heart, relationship advice, that sort of thing. And it kind of makes sense because they're very emotionally intuitive. So this could be you. Because it's a water sign, Cancer, I'm going to say this could very likely be you in the reading, unless you don't feel you fall into that role. Maybe you're a very typical male who doesn't really do much with the home front or doesn't feel that intuitive. Although I would say that most water signs have an intuitive character, even though they're too busy to tap into it sometimes, or they're too active to tap into it, or their mind is going in different directions, because you guys tend to be very, very smart. So I'm going to assume this is you, unless you don't fall into those, roles or situations or whatever you want to call it. Lots of swords going on here in this little sector. So let's dive into that right now. Now, the Queen of Swords, perhaps this is your partner. There's some malleability with the genders in the cards, and this is not like some new age thing. It's always been that way forever and ever and ever. It depends more on the role and the situation and things like that than gender. But typically, the queens will be female. Typically, not 100% of the time or anything. If you're doing the roles that a female might do in life. And when I say the roles, I don't necessarily mean the 1950s version of the woman who stays home, although I know many people think everybody did that in the 50s, but if you know any women from the 50s, and I do, my mother was from the 50s, and she didn't follow that role. I mean, she worked her whole life and whatever, and as many women did. So you have three queens here, which is rather exciting. This is a kind of a female uh, diagonal here, which is quite powerful. So let's look. So the Queen of Swords is an air sign, a Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius. She is very strong, very sometimes considered a bit cold-blooded because she can be very cut and dried, very cut to the chase, doesn't like a lot of BS, doesn't like a lot of flowery language, wants things to go a certain way. If they don't go a certain way in a certain time frame, screw it, it's over, you know? She can be a bit hardcore, but she is a truth seeker, and she tends to be very intelligent, very strong, and not everybody understands these people. They certainly are not like the Queen of Cups, who's very connected to people in a way that can be very kind and compassionate and understanding and empathetic and all that good stuff. I typically, now, you know, everything is done on an individual basis, but typically the Queen of Swords is not that type of person. She's a bit more hardcore when it comes to language and how she operates in the world. Then we've got the Queen of Pentacles here. Maybe this person is a relative of yours, a mom, a best friend, you know, a spouse. I don't know, anything. It could be your child, depending on your age. The Queen of Pentacles, she is also very strong on the home front. The people who are earth signs, which is what the Queen of Pentacles would be, Taurus, Virgo, or Capricorn, she is good at anything that stands the test of time. They invest in money, they invest in people, they invest in good health. That is what they do. They invest in things. And they're earth signs, so they like things that are tangible, something you can grab and grasp and hold on to that's sitting there in front of you. Now, I realize investments aren't always like that, but ultimately they do become solid. And so a lot of times what they invest in is people. And people are tangible. So you've got these very exciting cards which represent almost all the women or people who run that part of life. You've got almost all of it here. So perhaps you have these actual people in your life, or perhaps our queens are showing up because you need a variety of things in your life. Maybe you wear too many hats. You've got all these roles to play in life. Maybe you've got a very busy career, a very busy home life, a very busy social life, a lot of family and extended family to negotiate with. So you've got perhaps a lot of things going on, or perhaps it's all work related. Maybe you've got so many things at work that you need to know a lot about these various areas. It sounds weird because yes, they can be people, but also when I see something like this, like you've got this strong diagonal of strong women, maybe they're just showing up to help you, to say we've got your back, kind of. We're gonna give you some strength here, because you've got a lot going on, and there's some really great, exciting stuff here. This is really positive. Like, there's some strong positive stuff. So let's dive into the stuff that's not so perfect. This card I hate with a passion, always have, always will. And the reason I hate this card is because every time I get this card in a reading, it never makes sense. The card is somebody's doing something deceitful. It looks like he's stealing these swords from some kind of encampment or something, village, whatever, something that's going on over here. So the card is typically read as somebody's doing something deceitful. Sometimes it means a theft. Sometimes it means somebody's doing something behind your back. A lot of people read the card as somebody's having an affair. A lot of people read the card as there's gossip. So whatever it is, it's something behind your back is the concept of the card. Now, when I get the card, I never worry about this card because I never find anything in my life to be a problem when I get the card. So I am to the point where I ignore the card completely. But if you have something like you see this reading and then you get your house robbed, or there's an office rumor that results in something dreadful happening in your life, please let me know, because I will then file it into my repertoire of things that I say when I do readings, because I've been doing readings most of my life and the card never seems to work out. And it's the only card that is like that in the entire deck. Everything else makes sense. Everything else comes up as what it means typically. So, judging by this card, which tends to mean that you're overburdened with things, maybe you're not doing everything as efficiently as you could because you're so overburdened with too many tasks, maybe you choose to take on those tasks yourself. If you are this person, because she is so, or he, this person is so loving and caring, especially with family and close people, sometimes this person takes on far too much and then ends up looking like this, where you're overburdened, and it's very difficult. So perhaps you should not do that as much as you want to. Then you've got this card, which usually tends to mean a decision is in the making. You need to make a decision. And the decision is usually a situation where it's not, when this card comes up, it's usually there are two choices, two very distinct choices. And one is the way to go, and the other really is not the way to go. You don't always know what the answer is, so it's very much a truth-seeking mission. But to do that, you have to take off this blindfold. You cannot be blind to any facts about this situation. Maybe that's why our Queen of Swords is here, because she is very into cutting through to the truth. And maybe you need that quality right now of opening up your eyes. Do not stick your head in the sand and see what's going on here. Maybe it's this thing, even though in my world this card doesn't work. Maybe in this particular situation something is going on that you need to know. And so you need to open up your eyes and figure this thing out. This is a card of the skilled worker. It can be that you're a tradesperson, or perhaps your spouse is a tradesperson, and there's some transaction going on here. Some benefactor is hiring you, or this very significant other person in your life, can be your child also, to do a skilled task for money. That is one meaning of this card. But it's a card of creating something. Not at the very, very beginning. It's beyond the idea stage, but it's the laying of the foundation of the thing, actually starting to create and build something. It can be an investment. It's pentacles. It can be that you're purchasing a home. It can be that you're remodeling a home. It can be that you're putting an offer in on something, a building or something, or it can mean that you're actually building something physically. So it's a very positive card. Something is happening. Something is in the works. There is motion here. Even though there's a bit of indecision here, and we don't necessarily know what this is at this moment. You probably are overburdened with too much. There's really a positive, energetic feeling about this reading. Then you've got the Death card. Now, as you can see here, the Death card is not surrounded by anything negative. You don't have the Ten of Swords, and you don't have the Three of Swords, and you don't have anything that looks sad or depressing. It's not all surrounded by bad cards. It's actually surrounded by very, very good cards. Our Queen of Pentacles with her investment abilities and all that great stuff, and our Queen of Swords with her truth-seeking and all of this. So this is not physical death. This is perhaps a rebirth, a reinvigorating, the beginning of new things in your life. Then we've got the Hierophant. And here are two cards that tend to mean marriage. The Hierophant represents some kind of milestone. Sometimes it can be represented by the church or a religion, things like marriage, birth, communion, baptism, things like that. And then you've got this card, which also means marriage. Often means marriage. And it also means moving to a new home or residence, or even sometimes for a business. So there is movement and motion and some exciting stuff here. And I'm going to finish with this one, but there is major change. And I'm going to say marriage could be going on here. Whether if it's not you, it's somebody very close to you. This is my favorite card in the deck. It's the Six of Cups. It's about nostalgia and childhood relationships. And even if it's not about the actual childhood relationships, it can mean that you're going to have a relationship as an adult that has that quality of closeness and magic, like in a childhood relationship, whether it's a love relationship, a deep friendship. Something is very special here. It can also mean the relationship with a sibling, somebody you actually did grow up with, or a childhood friend that you're very, very close to. And this relationship is very significant. It's right next to the Ten of Cups. It could mean that you're going to have a very, very happy life. Perhaps you're going to be married to this person that you grew up with. And sometimes it means the person comes back into your life. Sometimes it's just a card of a very happy childhood. You have a happy childhood, and that has an influence on the way you are in your life, in your marriage, in your raising of children. And I say marriage because in spite of the fact that I've had some bad marriages, I still believe in marriage. But that doesn't mean that it can't be a living together situation. I also call that a marriage because basically you have chosen to spend your life with the person, whether you've gone through any kind of a ceremony or not. So whatever this is, it's very beautiful. You're going to have a really beautiful future. I would be excited about this. I would be excited about this coupled with all this happy stuff and the motion of potentially moving or getting married or somebody, it's usually you when these things come up in the cards, but when it isn't you, it's often somebody very, very close to you. Say your best friend, this childhood friend of yours who you love and adore, is the person who's getting married, okay? And maybe you're involved in the wedding, and that's why this is coming up with all this joy and happiness and whatever. All of this joy and happiness will spill onto you, whether it's you or not. It will spill onto you. That's why I never understood why people are jealous of their friends. The better they do, the better you will do. It just will, joy and happiness and productivity and all of those things will spill onto you. But it might be actually you, so I'm not passing the buck here. It might be you who's getting married and doing all these wonderful things. Either way, it looks like you're going to have a very happy life and a very happy future, and I'm going to assume a very happy month. So, my darlings, have a wonderful month and a beautiful rest of summer, and I hope to talk to you soon.